Chapter 2380, Ingui 4. What formidable power! Truly worthy of a master with a 51,000-point ability index. To actually strip away 10% of my defensive strength, utterly terrifying. This was one of the most severe damages Jeangi had suffered since ascending to knight rank, comparable only to the assault by Xinglu. Yet, instead of fear, a faint smile graced Jeangi's face. Time was on his side. He could foresee future changes, so he was certain this strike wouldn't harm him. As for the damage to the dimensional gate, it would only take some time to repair. In terms of offensive power, he might only possess 45,000 points, reaching a maximum of 50,000 points when fully armed. But on the defensive front, even if Xinglu himself arrived, he would never again shatter Jeangi's defenses. So that's it. The ultimate trajectory of power, and that fleeting moment of recovery. Jeangi murmured to himself, the second hand of time in his left eye spinning at an unprecedented speed. That earth-shattering strike had been dissected in his vision into countless minute energy streams. Its overwhelmingly powerful burst pattern, along with that extremely brief yet tangibly real moment of stasis during force recovery, he had captured them all with crystal clarity. Seeing the future. This was the terrifying power of the second hand of time, the true might of a time ability user reaching knight level. But it's about time. Reciprocity is only fair. Your finishing move has ended. Now it's my turn again. Jeangi snapped his head up, his eyes blazing with radiant divine light. Instead of repairing his shattered defenses, he made a move that stunned both Ingui and all onlookers. He raised his left hand and clenched his fist with such force it seemed poised to crush the very space filled with destructive energy. All blasphemers shall face divine judgment. Within this infinity sword domain, I am the sovereign. Any force that harms me shall be consumed by its own power. The infinity sword domain, originally designed to isolate the outside world, abruptly reversed its nature. It no longer repelled incoming energy but transformed into a colossal, invisible vortex, generating terrifying suction. In an instant, the lingering remnants of the blade storm that still permeated the battlefield began to converge madly. Sword chi and dark matter scattered from countless previous collisions, even the ceaselessly emanating dark aura from Ingui's body. All the unclaimed, chaotic energy was forcibly seized and channeled by this immense pull. Like 100 rivers flowing to the sea, it surged madly toward Jeangi's palm, coalescing into an intensely dark, black sphere. What is he doing? Ingui's crimson eyes widened in disbelief. He had never witnessed such a combat style, daring to actively absorb an enemy's power imbued with destructive attributes. Bad. Retreat. Retreat to the farthest point. Brian, take Miss Yang and get away from this area. Within the shadow space, Professor Da Vinci was the first to react, issuing a shrill warning. The tactical visor showed energy levels already exceeding critical thresholds. Warning! Warning! High energy ahead. Non-combatants and combatants evacuate immediately. Yang Xinxin's eyes sharpened. Without hesitation, she executed the order, her figure transforming into a black streak as she retreated backward at breakneck speed. Though Brian didn't understand, his instinct for danger made his fur instantly bristle. Woof 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 woof. It growled lowly, racing alongside Yang Xinxin to the distant edge of Infinity Sword domain. Then, with impeccable chivalry, he stood up, positioning himself before Yang Xinxin. Using his mutated, resilient body as a shield, he protected the girl behind him. His gaze remained vigilant, fixed on the distant black sphere forming in Jeangi's palm, resembling a black hole. After reaching knight rank, his technique has become even more insane. At the battlefield's center, Jeangi's body became the eye of an energy storm. The overwhelming influx of alien energy caused his end demon god armor to groan under the strain, its plates violently trembling. Yet the core furnace within the armor raced frantically. The wails of billions of souls from the Wulwan Empire, bound to the armor of the end, poured forth, infusing the purest essence of dark origin power to help Jeangi stabilize and compress this destructive conglomerate. Infused with this energy, the armor grew heavier and more monstrous than ever before, resembling a demon god emerging from ancient times. It enveloped Jeangi's entire body, sealing him within like a towering black iron fortress. Jeangi clasped his hands before his chest, where all energies, his own dark matter, the sword energy of Ingui, the remnants of the storm, were forcibly compressed and condensed. A black sphere materialized. Initially no larger than a fist, it emitted terrifying fluctuations that made the entire dark sun forest tremble. It was pitch black, so dark that even light couldn't escape its pull, like a miniature black hole. As more energy poured in, it rapidly expanded, transforming into a black sun over 10 meters in diameter. Its surface wasn't blazing with fiery light, but rather a silent, burning darkness, the fire of annihilation and finality. At its source, countless tiny sword shadows and spatial fissures flickered into existence and vanished, a forcibly fused, highly unstable energy of destruction. Jeangi slowly raised this black sun with both arms, his gaze cold and solemn, as if wielding some forbidden authority. He spoke slowly, his voice not loud, yet resonating like a decree of law. It reached Ingui clearly, and echoed in the ears of every living being that sensed this force. Fuse all the scattered power from our battle into one. Concentrate the might of both of us to execute divine punishment upon you. Die beneath this strike of mine. The crime of blasphemy against the gods. The moment the words fell, he thrust the black sun in his hands forcefully toward the sky above Ingui. The black sun rose slowly, distorting and collapsing space in its wake. It left behind a black trail that refused to close, like an ugly scar tearing across the sky. It reached its zenith, then. With the weight of a judgment that would decide all things, it began its descent toward Ingui. Ingui, unable to move, could only watch helplessly as it came down upon him. No sound existed, or rather, all sound was swallowed by the utter darkness. Ingui lifted his head, gazing at the black sun that filled his entire field of vision. Within his crimson eyes, rage, terror, and unwillingness. All ultimately dissolved into a serene acceptance. He sensed it, a strike that channeled the combined might of both combatants, transcending technique to strike at the very essence of power itself. Before this force, his prideful blade storm seemed utterly pale. Chapter 2381, Ingui 5. So. This is the power of the new era. This was his final thought. The black sun silently illuminated the land, distorting light and shadow. Dark radiance engulfed Ingui's form. There was no explosion, only utter annihilation. Ingui's heavy black armor melted away the moment it touched the dark flame, like ice under sunlight. His body, the massive cross-bladed sword in his hand, every trace of his existence, all were decomposed into their most fundamental particles within that silently burning black sun, utterly reduced to nothingness, leaving not even a speck of ash behind. When the black sun finally dissipated, it left behind a smooth, mirror-like crater over 10 kilometers in diameter. At the crater's edge, faint, heart-stopping tendrils of dark energy still lingered. Jeangi descended slowly, standing at the crater's rim. His armor trembled as the core furnace gradually dimmed. The surrounding air warped from the extreme heat generated by the intense energy radiation, yet it could not scorch Jeangi beneath his thick armor. A duel between knights had concluded in the most extreme, most brutal manner. Standing at the edge of the 100-meter diameter hemispherical crater, Jeangi slowly calmed the surging energy within his body. Cracks on the demon god armor repaired themselves at a visible pace, emitting a faint hum. As he felt the flow of power within, an unprecedented clarity surged through his mind. Ingui, the former knight commander of the Dark Moon Empire, whose ability index soared to 51,000 points, had been single-handedly crushed by Jeangi's own might, utterly annihilated. This was no trick, no reliance on external aid. It was the genuine, hard-won result of pushing his own abilities to their absolute limit. The absolute defense of everything under heaven, the causal foresight of the second hand of time, the rule annihilation of dark realm current, and finally, that ultimate strike, a profanation of the gods, gathering countless energies. All these abilities had now become second nature to him. So, without even realizing it, I've already reached this point. The man who once lived solely to survive, a warehouse keeper whose only redeeming quality was his good looks, had evolved into a formidable being. Looking across the 4.6 billion years of the physical world, among all life forms, I should count myself among the truly formidable. Except for those who dominated an entire era, the pinnacle of the top-tier species, few could claim a sure victory over me. A white figure unconsciously surfaced in Jeangi's mind. White Dragon had left an indelibly profound impression upon him. His heart began to race. Before becoming a knight, he had viewed White Dragon like a frog in a well gazing at the moon. After entering the knight's realm, he saw White Dragon like a tiny dragonfly glimpsing the vast sky. He estimated the White Dragon's ability index to be at least 60,000 points, and that figure was no mere rounding error. Feeling his own power origin, now firmly anchored at 45,000 points yet growing increasingly dense and substantial through profound understanding, Jeangi felt a surge of formidable confidence. Though formidable foes still lay ahead, he was certain he now possessed the qualifications to carve out a place for himself in this desolate land. With a wave of his hand, a single, intensely condensed yet no longer hostile dark red energy point slowly rose from the depths of the giant pit, sinking into his palm. This was the purest supernatural origin left behind by Ingui, still carrying traces of his final, reluctant will. As the energy entered his body, besides a slight increase in power, a fragmented vision and intense emotions assaulted Jeangi's consciousness. It was a grand yet oppressive dark moon hall. 7 figures, shrouded in the hazy glow of a dark moon, sat indistinctly atop the throne. Their absolute majesty could be felt. The young Ingui, clutching a war helmet, revealed a face of resolute defiance. He stood head held high before the 7 Dark Moon priests, his voice strained with suppressed fury. Why can I not become the next Dark Moon priest? With my power, with my battle achievements, I far surpass any candidate of this generation. Simply because I am male, I am forever barred from the authority of the Dark Moon priesthood? Is this fair? That intense, searing defiance against fate's injustice burned as clear as a brand. It turned out that the root of this mighty Knight Commander's rebellion stemmed from the Dark Moon Empire's seemingly unshakable tradition. The highest priesthood was reserved exclusively for females. Could it be that even immense power ultimately succumbs to the shackles of rules? Or rather, the power was simply insufficient to overturn everything. Jeangi shrugged, then promptly dismissed the matter. He couldn't fathom the petty affairs of the Moon People, nor did he care to understand why the supreme rulers of both great Moon People empires were female. Perhaps it had something to do with Huashu Kingdom's yin-yang philosophy? Or maybe not, it was all just Jeangi's wild guesses, and he couldn't care less. Each person's path diverged. Ingui chose to rebel against the old order and met his demise. Jeangi, however, would forge his own way. After absorbing the origin, his gaze grew even more profound. Having devoured the origins of 2 White Knight-level mutants within a single day, he would require considerable time to fully convert them. Yet this process simultaneously ignited a powerful conviction within him. The Ice Age had descended merely 5 years prior, and according to numerous ancient civilizations, the true apocalypse had yet to arrive. Thus, fewer than 10 super-ancient civilizations had appeared in the world. Among them, the 5th generation alone accounted for the majority. The Dragon Clan beneath the Qinling Mountains, the 3-headed serpent race beneath the land of Brahma, the nation by the marshes beneath the Neon Kingdom, the Demon Kingdom beneath the southwest region where civilization had been severed. The physical world has existed for over 4 billion years, who knows how many human generations have come and gone. Even within the brief span of the 6th generation, 2 distinct peoples emerged, the land dwellers and the sea dwellers. Our understanding of this world remains far too shallow. Perhaps in time, we will unveil more veils of ancient civilizations. Yet their successive appearances may also signal the imminent arrival of the true apocalypse. Such reflections stirred within Jeangi's heart. But dwelling on such thoughts was futile. He cast aside these useless musings and released the constraints of the infinite sword domain. The group re-emerged into the outside world, facing the gloomy dark sun forest. With a space shuffle, he appeared before Brian and Yang Xinqin. Brian stared at him, his face brimming with admiration. Hi, bro. You've gotten even more powerful. Jeangi smiled at him. If you spent just 1/10 of the time you waste playing with silicone on improving yourself, I believe you could reach the night level very soon. Brian was the world's greatest genius, at least in the realm of dogs. Chapter 2382, Ingui 6. Brian possessed exceptional innate qualities, an incredibly robust physique and formidable control over gravity. Were it not for his typical Labrador traits of being lazy and fond of eating, coupled with his enthusiasm for the process of reproducing, his strength would undoubtedly be astonishing. Brian scratched his head. Then what's the point of living? Jeangi, Yang Xinshin, and the others in the shadows were silent. Fatty Sue sighed. Brother dog, practice moderation. Science shows 3 times a week is the optimal rhythm. Brian proudly patted his chest. No problem. I'm in top physical shape. Jeangi surveyed their surroundings. We've made such a racket, we've definitely caught the attention of certain entities. Though perhaps we were detected the moment we entered the Dark Sun Forest. Let's keep moving forward. Jeangi's face showed no trace of worry, as if he held absolute confidence in the journey ahead. Lou Caron and Professor Da Vinci were still intently studying the substances retrieved from the Dark Sun Forest. Neither questioned Jeangi's confidence. When it came to steadiness in this world, Jeangi was second to none. No one dared claim the top spot. But Li Yangyang had spent far less time with Jeangi. Perplexed, she turned to Fatty Sue. Are we just going to keep moving forward like this? I can't shake the feeling it's getting more dangerous the deeper we go. Fatty Sue froze for a moment before replying, yeah, you're right. Makes sense. Li Yangyang was speechless. You never even considered this? Fatty Sue scratched his head sheepishly. Honestly, there's rarely a need for me to think. He didn't have the heart to admit that when he did think, it was often worse than not thinking at all. Li Yangyang found Jeangi even more mysterious. She sighed softly, a hint of worry clouding her beautiful face. Seeing this, Fatty Sue immediately grabbed her soft little hand with a pained expression, lifting his head to gaze up at her beautiful face. What's wrong, Yang? Something on your mind? Li Yangyang shook her head gently. I just feel like I'm really holding you guys back. Fatty Sue, upon hearing this, immediately said earnestly, don't worry. Once things here are settled, I'll definitely go talk to boss. I'll secure a portion of the spirit of sacrifice for you too. Though discussing this matter would likely require kneeling. A flicker of surprise and delight flashed in Li Yangyang's eyes. Soon, she gently and sensibly shook her head again, saying, while I do yearn for a life-level evolution, everything is already being orchestrated by Jeangi. There's no need to disrupt his plans for my sake. Jeangi and Yang Xinshin pressed onward. Brian's dog nose sniffed the air intensely before bellowing, heaven and earth know no bounds. Tracing across 10,000 miles. Soon, he pointed toward the left front, there. Follow my lead. Jeangi shouldered the Eternal Judgment Sword. Holding it in his hand gave him a sense of solidity. The group pressed on, but before long, an unexpected change occurred. At that moment, a long, drawn-out dragon's roar echoed across the sky. A massive black silhouette tore through the thick fog, diving downward with a powerful gust of wind. It was the Moon Warrior, Gyalan, transformed into a colossal black dragon. Lord Chaos. Diaolon folded his dragon wings and landed not far from Jeangi. Lowering his dragon head, his voice carried a hint of urgency. I've finally found you. The spiritual corruption in this forest grows stronger by the moment. Though I can temporarily resist it with the spiritual medicine, I won't last much longer. We must find the Night Witch quickly, or else. He didn't finish his sentence, but the implication was clear. Continuing deeper meant everyone risked being utterly corrupted by Samuel's will, turning into raving monsters. Jeangi nodded. We're heading toward the center. Let's move. Time waits for no one. The group pressed onward. With Diaolon, this local dragon familiar with the terrain, leading the way, their pace quickened considerably. The closer they approached the forest's heart, the more bizarre the surroundings grew. Trees had completely lost their botanical forms, twisted into black crystalline masses that contorted like human figures in agony. Viscous black grease seeped from the ground, while low-hanging smoke in the air seemed on the verge of solidifying. As they traversed an area densely packed with these black crystalline clusters, a sudden clamor of voices and energy fluctuations erupted ahead. "Oh? Seems we have other guests." Jeangi's eyes flickered, signaling the others to stay alert. Circling around a massive cluster, the sight before them left the group momentarily stunned. A group of about 20 people was resting against several huge black boulders. Their attire varied, but most bore distinct markings of the Columbia Marine Corps, though they now looked thoroughly bedraggled. At their head stood none other than the wealthy capitalist himself, Benjamin Morgan, president of the Natural Science Association. Gone was Morgan's usual tailored elegance. He now wore a rugged, high-performance combat suit, though it too was covered in scratches and grime. He still habitually fiddled with an ancient gold coin in his hand. Spotting Jeangi and his group, especially Jeangi himself, he visibly froze for a moment before erupting with immense delight. Morgan plastered an enthusiastic smile across his face, though beneath it lay an unmistakable weariness and wariness. "Finally found you. Damn it, this place is way too dangerous." Benjamin strode forward, arms wide in an exaggerated welcoming gesture, though he wisely halted mid-motion. "Running into you lot in this hellhole brings tears to my eyes. God, this place is deadlier than a Wall Street boardroom." Jeangi smiled faintly. Benjamin's knack for trading business compliments and complaints no matter the time or place didn't surprise him. After all, he'd watched his share of Western business dramas. "Mr. Morgan, it seems your luck held out. Still kicking and screaming." "Luck? No, my friend. This is strength. The power of capital." Benjamin patted his combat suit and jingled the gold coins in his hand. "See this? The latest tech, a psychic barrier generator. Cost me the equivalent of 3 tons of gold. And this, a lucky coin, mean weapon. Can slightly deflect misfortune. Oh, of course, compared to your majesty, Mr. Chaos, these are mere gimmicks." He delivered the flattery at just the right moment. Brian snorted disdainfully beside him, muttering under his breath where only his own kind could hear, "Pfft. The power of capital? Look at you, you were practically running your pants off getting chased by those psychic polluters in the dark sun forest just now." Benjamin pretended not to hear Brian's snide remark. His gaze swept over Yang Xinchin, Brian, and Diaolan behind Jeangi, asking with a hint of inquiry, "Mr. Chaos, why are only a few of you here? Where are Mr. Odin and King Arthur? Could it be everyone got separated?"